Hello everybody. Welcome to episode 5 on my journey to my first powerlifting competition, March 28th. They actually moved it to San Diego from Vista, so very excited about that. I will have less distance to travel before a 6 a.m. start time. Just finished up week 6 of my training and I'm feeling awesome. I actually repped a 300-pound deadlift this week, and it felt easy, so that was really exciting. Hoping to up my 1 rep deadlift max by 10, 20, 35 pounds. We'll see. Maybe hit a 375 1 rep max. So in order to make sure that I'm not staying on track and I'm not having to skip too many workouts in the powerlifting program, I decided this week to try training Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, skip Wednesday, or rest Wednesday, rest Saturday, Sunday. And this was just because before, the way I was splitting it, I was ending up only doing 3 workouts per week some weeks. So hopefully this will keep me on track better. I was a little bit worried about how I would recover having to train back to back 2 times a week, but actually felt fine. This is in line with my recovery genetics. So today's episode is all about the genetics of training, of lifting. And this week I found out that my recovery genetics are actually pretty good, meaning that I am able to repair muscle quickly and have less soreness generally. So that's allowing me to stack these very challenging workouts back to back. So as some of you might know, I own and operate Generate Personal Training, where I read each client's genetics to help program their workout splits so that the workouts work optimally for their body so that they can train smarter and transform faster. They can train fewer days a week. They're going to see results faster because their training program is aligned with their genetics. So what does that mean? The main thing I'm looking at right now when I'm looking at somebody's fitness-related genetics is whether they are power predisposed or endurance predisposed. And this analysis is based on peer-reviewed scientific articles that look at genetic variation associated with athletes, elite athletes in both of these categories. So in terms of weightlifting, if somebody is endurance predisposed, I'm going to have their primary focus be endurance-based lifting, which is hypertrophy style. And this style of lifting is characterized by high reps, so 12 to 15%, and lower weight with a 60 to 90 second rest period between the sets. This technique stresses the muscles, causing micro tears that the body then repairs, resulting in more contractile proteins and bigger muscles. Hypertrophy literally means growth. So if someone is power predisposed, they're gonna focus on lower reps, maybe 3 to 6%, higher weight, maybe 80 to 90% of their 1 rep max, and 2 to 3 minute rest periods. This type of lifting, while it does also grow muscle, it actually trains the nervous system more. It teaches your body to recruit more muscle fibers, fire them faster, coordinate them better. And when I look at power predisposition, a number of genes I actually look at have nothing to do with muscle fiber structure, but they have everything to do with neurological signaling. So pretty much you're just training your body to coordinate to be able to lift heavier weight more optimally. So you need to practice powerlifting so that you can train your nervous system to increase the overall weight you can lift. And then you alternate to hypertrophy. Now, ideally your 1 rep max is higher. You can take maybe 60 to 70% of that weight for your hypertrophy sets and focus on time under tension, building up your muscle endurance, causing these micro tears, which is gonna then cause your muscles to grow in size. And then you're gonna go back to power, and then again, increase your maximum strength and keep training your neurological adaptations. And then you just keep alternating back and forth between these over a year. However, based on your genetics is what's gonna help me determine how many power blocks versus endurance or hypertrophy style blocks you're going to do in a year. Because if you're power predisposed, you're going to want to do more power blocks because your body is going to respond to those better. If you're more endurance predisposed, you're going to do more endurance hypertrophy style blocks because your body is going to respond to those better. So looking at my genetics, I am endurance predisposed. While I didn't know this when I started lifting with Tom over 3 years ago. You can see from this plot that when I do hypertrophy style lifting, which focuses on muscle endurance, my skeletal muscle mass is increasing more than during power blocks. If I divide the change in muscle mass over the number of months I was doing the program, for hypertrophy, the average change is plus 0.43 pounds, while for power, the average change is actually negative 0.8. So while I'm just one person, that's pretty good evidence that the endurance style training is working better for me. So this last block you can see is interesting though. In the past, when I've done power blocks, I've adhered very strictly to a power style. However, this last block of training for my powerlifting competition has actually been more of a hybrid program. For all 3 main lifts, 1 day per week, I go all out. I'm training at 85 to 95% of my 1 rep max. I'm doing very few reps, practicing the competition lifting style and form. And then on the other days, for the lift that's not the focus of that day, I take the weight down to somewhere between 60 and 75%, and I actually am training for hypertrophy. Also, all the accessories for the powerlifting, that's building up my shoulders, my back, my core, all of those are hypertrophy style. What's interesting is that in the last month that I've been doing my powerlifting prep program, I have actually gained 1.3 pounds of muscle. And I don't know if this is because of the renewed motivation and consistency because I'm training for this competition. I'm not sure if I'm actually eating better. I'm definitely not sleeping better. Or it's because I actually do have some genetics that align with power. But this is a pretty significant muscle mass change, and it's much higher than my average over just a month. And I need to do another in-body to see what's happening this month. 1.3 pounds of muscle over a month is the biggest change I've seen since I started training with Tom 3 years ago. And that can really be attributed to newbie gains. I was pretty much starting from nothing at that point. My diet was really bad. I hadn't really done any heavy lifting in many, many years at that point. And so pretty much just walking to the gym and starting to lift heavy weight again is going to cause this really quick increase in muscle mass for any new lifter, if they're consistent, if they have the correct training program. So all this to say is that this hybrid program is going really well for me, and I definitely want to look into the research and dive more deeply into my own genetics and see why that may be. I hope you found this episode intriguing as well. Please leave any questions or comments below. Subscribe. Follow me and Tom on Instagram. If you're interested in getting your genetics analyzed or training with me, please visit my website linked below or shoot me a message. Thanks so much, and until next time.